Hi Jill, how are you?
Oh, good, Desmond, good. Now, we need to decide some things about our project, don't we?
Yes. By the way, Jill, I've been meaning to ask you, did you always know you were going to do social sciences?
Well, to be honest, no, it took me quite a while to fix on it. Why, did you know from the start?
Not completely, no. I didn't do it at school, obviously.
Oh, no, nor did I. I was quite drawn to the physical world, like how things are made. And, there's a sort of ancient history to the industrial world we live in, isn't there? With the invention of the wheel, for example, through to high-spec computers today. So, although I wasn't a bit drawn to being an architect or doing archaeology, I wondered about the industrial side of design for some time.
Oh, that's surprising. I'd never have guessed.
Oh, and that's not all. There's a kind of earn lots of money side to me too. So I wondered if some kind of management role might suit me. And I spent quite a bit of time looking into diplomas and degrees in aspects of running companies, which I thought could be fascinating. But I'm quite allergic to too much computerization, and the information management aspects seem to dominate those courses. And that's really how I've ended up where I am.
Well, I was just choosing between social sciences and psychology, and I thought that was tricky.
But even having made the choice, I still find the course far from easy.
Yes, me too. I've been making some great friends here, maybe too many, to be honest. And I'm glad I had a gap year before starting, so I got a bit of experience of the world and learnt to deal with my finances, because I see a lot of students really struggling with that.
Including me.
It's planning everything that's tricky for me. I can never decide what to concentrate in what order, which things are more important to get done first. So I go to lectures in the morning and that's fine, then I drift into the library and I'm not sure what to do. Then I see some friends in there and I get into trouble for trying to chat with them instead of keeping quiet and getting on with work. So I always seem a bit behind with the coursework.
Well, Desmond, that's not going to happen with this project we're doing together.
Oh, no, good. Right. Now, first up is the design of the experiment. Shall we work on that together?
I was thinking that there was more in your territory, that you're the more than numbers man.
I don't mind doing it, certainly. I don't think it's going to be very easy. There are so many variables to take account of, aren't there? So I'll need to get some help from the statistics tutor. And as I'm not convinced of my powers, as you seem to be...
Well, you seem to get on with them quite well. If you deal with that, then I could be in the library looking into the sorts of research projects that have been done in this area before. Or would you like to tack that onto what you're already doing?
I think your perspective would be more useful on this. Shall we say we'll combine forces for it?
Okay, because there would be quite a heavy reading load.
Once the experiment's structure starts to become clear, we should check with the IT section if they'll be able to help us at all in setting it up. I don't know how easy it is to talk to them.
Oh, not very, I think is the answer to that. However, I've got a friend there, so I could sound her out. She's a helpful sort of person.
Oh, good.
Now, we agreed that as well as the hard numerical data, we'd set up some small focus groups to get the qualitative data, didn't we? Should we do that as a pair?
I agree. We'll conduct the group sessions together, but it's fairly straightforward to arrange the sessions, isn't it?
Well, true. I'll take care of that then. And then, finally, we need to think about the presentation.
Oh, I have no ability in public speaking, but whereas you...
Well, we can divide up the sections.
I'll sort out the slides and the animations and the handouts, everything. If you do the talking, I agree that it should be a joint effort. It's just that we should play to our strengths.
It's a deal.
Okay, now we should go off and then... Today, on Nature Focus, we're looking at the river turtle and the threats it's facing in today's world. The two main places we see the giant river turtle are South America and Southeast Asia. The best way to see the big rivers of South America, such as the Amazon and the Orinoco, is probably by plane. But then you might miss the strange, shallow craters that cover the sandbanks along these rivers. These are the nests of the arrow turtles, and at night thousands of turtles rise up out of the river water and scuttle into these holes. The holes are around 90 centimetres in diameter, so the turtles, whose shells are about 75 centimetres in length, fit neatly. Enormous numbers of eggs are laid on the beaches. Since hundreds of females, each laying between 70 and 80 eggs, crowd together, it means that literally thousands of eggs fill the sandy nests waiting to hatch. A similar story is played out in Asia, where the river terrapins also lay their eggs commonly and in the open. The difference is that the terrapins, once they have used the nests, cover them over and then beat the sand down with their limbs, making an incredible sound like drums. The noise at night of many terrapins doing this is incredible and drowns out the sound of the river water. And the male terrapins are fascinating too. Throughout the breeding season, they are famous for the colour changes to their oddly shaped heads that take place. However, these wonderful creatures are under threat, and this has been the case for quite some time. As long ago as 1811, the scientist and explorer Alexander von Humboldt was a witness to the mass destruction of turtle eggs at the Orinoco River. The eggs made oil, and the oil made money. He recorded that a jar contains 25 bottles of oil, each bottle being the production of 200 eggs, and allowing for the wastage of eggs damaged in the nest. 33 million eggs had been harvested to fill 5,000 jars. And that was a sight and a calculation that appalled him. And it appalled many others too. So there have been, over the years, various initiatives designed to protect turtles and terrapins from such slaughter. For example, the sultans of Perak in Asia ensured that the safety, at least to some extent, of the beaches for terrapins when they issued licenses to official egg collectors. These collectors would only collect eggs in numbers that were sustainable. However, the scheme, of course, vanished with the sultans, and despite efforts at protecting turtles, there are ever-growing demands for them, for pets in some countries and for food in others, and also heavily in traditional medicine in various parts of Asia. These levels of exploitation, unfortunately, far exceeded their ability to reproduce and so replace their lost stock. It takes a turtle a long time, many years, to grow from a baby or hatchling to an adult that can reproduce. And so the survival of eggs and hatchlings is crucial to the survival of the species. But the threat never stops being acute. Once adult, a female turtle can continue reproducing for a number of decades, provided they are not killed or injured. So the loss of even a single adult can mean many years of reproduction are lost forever. Is it all gloom? Well, there are some grounds for cautious optimism. There are some well-thought-out management systems in place which can help the stocks of threatened turtles and terrapins to rebuild. In Brazil, for example, the government has been encouraging and supporting the farming of river turtles, with the idea that this happens alongside the banning of the hunting of wild turtles. The idea of the scheme is to provide farmers with a one-off batch of hatchlings, which they are urged to keep until they become mature. This should mean that good quantities of turtle capable of reproducing come to the rescue of the species. Will it work? Let's hope so. The scheme has some doubters who point out that while the biology arguments for the scheme certainly do make sense, the farmers on the scheme, of course, have no experience of this kind of farming. That means it's impossible at this stage to know if the turtles they develop will be sufficiently marketable, and thus if the scheme will work well from an economic point of view. It may be that it has to rely on subsidies, and that would mean in the long term that it would probably fail. But it's certainly worth a try, and I hope to be back on this program in a few years' time reporting on its great success.